The Eras Tour is coming up, and if you are wondering what songs Taylor is going to perform at this epic concert, then let's go into a whole deep dive because I'm about to give my predictions for the Eras Tour set list. I'm going to start playing Taylor Swift songs. I am going to list every single song that I think is going to be played at the Eras Tour. Additionally, I'm going to give you my set list, which I'm going to freeze in time right now. I'm not going to change it. It is going to stay like that till at least March 3rd. I don't think I'm going to change it much, but anyway, I'm going to share that with you as well. And then while all of this is based on logic and research that I've done, I'm also going to provide an unhinged theory at the end. So if you want to hang on to the end and check that out, you're welcome to. I'm also going to put little chapters. So if you want to just skip to what my songs are then and not listen to me ramble on, then you can do that too. All right, let's do it. I'm Kelly, and on this channel we do all things Swiftie. Today we're going into the Eras Tour. I also do deep dives into songs. I do song breakdowns, Taylor Swift news. I even do workouts to all of her songs. So if that sounds like fun to you and you want to come along, then hit subscribe. And while you're down there, before we start, put in the comments the song, the one song, the song that just in your soul you just want to hear Taylor singing and you're screaming it at the top of your lungs at a stadium. So let's walk you through my logic as to how to get to the songs that will be played on the Eras Tour. So first is just looking at Taylor Swift concert history, right? We have some information, some data points from 1989, from Red, and from Reputation. And it's in Reputation that I think will give us the most clues and the most logic as to how to derive the information that we want for the Eras Tour. Okay, so let's go. In the Reputation Stadium Tour, first, it was a stadium tour. Taylor was performing in front of huge audiences versus earlier in her career. And then similarly, this was her sixth studio album. And then she had 6 albums to pull from. So in her earlier years, it was easy. It's just like play as many songs that are hers that people know. And then by your 6th album, you are trying to promote the album, but then also reminding people of your previous work and songs that they may have loved. So we have that information, but then we also have some other things to consider. With Reputation, this was a huge commercial success. There are millions of people who attended the concert in person, but then with the Netflix documentary, many even more saw this and have this in their mind as what a Taylor Swift concert looks like. And I think that there's going to be a lot of intentional thought with Taylor and her team to really pull that apart, the Eras Tour, pull the Eras Tour apart from the Reputation Tour. I think that she really wants it to be fresh. I think she really wants it to be interesting and really make it different from Reputation. A lot has happened since the Reputation Tour. So the Loverfest was supposed to happen. This was a tour that was completely baked and had to be scrapped. She pick up pieces from Loverfest, and maybe there is a set piece or maybe there's a song that she really wanted to play that she then says, okay, I didn't get to do that then, and now I want to do that here. We got a little information as to kind of the songs that she put on the top of her list to perform when she did the Live in Paris, but that was a different setting than an entire stadium tour. Next thing to consider is Folklore and Evermore. Okay, so Folklore and Evermore are her indie folk pop songs and albums. And while I do think that there will be songs, there has to be songs that will be played at the Eras Tour. This is her Eras. She can't just completely ignore these. I don't think that there's going to be a large focus on these songs. They're definitely going to have their moments. We're definitely going to hear some really great songs from those albums. But my prediction is that with a stadium tour comes a lot of energy, comes a lot of jumping around, and I think that these songs are not suited for those venues. I feel like these songs are, smaller, intimate settings where, you're kind of keeping things mellow, and I think that playing a lot of these songs would bring the energy down. Taylor definitely has these moments where she's softer and she connects with the fans and she sings those slower songs and she's playing an instrument. And I think that's where those songs are going to be. But I don't think that we're going to see a lot from those. Okay, and then next that we have to consider is Midnights, all right? So TS10, and this was the last album that Taylor produced. So there are 4 albums that have come out since she has gone on tour. And this was intentionally not called the Midnights Tour. It's called the Eras Tour. So this isn't going to be, I'm just playing Midnights and then sprinkling in my previous work. That said, I do think that there is going to be a strong focus on the Midnights album because as this concept album is positioned, it is sleepless nights throughout her entire career. And if she's taking us through the journey of her eras, then these songs fit into not specifically the previous era, but maybe the experiences flow into those eras. Okay, all right. So then let's go back and look at the Reputation tour and see what it can tell us. My list of all the songs that will be played on the Eras tour is 70. So I know that sounds like a huge amount, and you may be even thinking like, Kelly, did you even like narrow anything down? One, yes, I did. It is not easy. I challenge you to do so. Taylor has over 200 songs, so I narrowed it down to a third. But here's how I kind of got to that 70 number. When I looked at the Reputation songs played, the songs played on the Reputation tour, okay, you get to 60. And I know you may have seen previously, oh, there was only 19 songs played at Reputation, and that is not entirely true. So on the Reputation Stadium tour, there were 19 sets, okay? And I want you to think of a set as like an act. So for example, Taylor starts the tour with, Ready for It, and it's like, baby, let the games begin, and she does choreography, and then she pauses and stops, and everyone claps. That is a set. She also has a set where she introduces her band. She starts singing the song Style. She starts introducing the band, and then she goes into You Belong With Me. And that's considered a set. So she has sets within the Reputation tour where she is doing multiple songs within the set. And I'm going to call those mashups. So if you consider the mashups, the official set list for the Reputation tour is 24. Okay? And it's in these mashups that is a key to deriving my personal list, because I think that that is the best and the only way to really get through all these errors, get through 10 albums worth of music in a concert where you're saying the focus is your entire body of work. I think these mashups are really what's going to drive the ability to hear all the songs that we really want to hear. So there may be a song that you really, really like, and it's just going to be pieces of those songs. I do think that she is going to have some like big moment events with some key songs, and again, I'll share that with you at the end. Okay, so let's continue on. So we have those 24 songs that are the official list. Additionally, if you go on Spotify, you will find under Taylor's, section, her page, whatever you want to call it, under Taylor's page, there is the Reputation Stadium Tour surprise songs. So while she has the set list where, I don't know, let's say it's 80-20. So 80% of the time, these are the songs that she is playing. And then 20% of the time, she has this like creative moment where she switches things in based on the venue and different elements of that day. So these 46 songs, so if you have 46 surprise songs and 24 official songs, you get to 60 songs on just Reputation. And then I did 70, which is just 10 more, even though there are 4 more albums, right? So what these surprise songs are like, for example, Taylor was performing Delicate in Philadelphia during Reputation, and the levitating stage broke. And so instead of doing Delicate, she performed Wildest Dreams, or she performed a different song. Additionally, at each place or at each night, she performed a different song. So it could be, she played Tim McGraw. She actually played Tim McGraw with Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. So that's another element, is that Taylor had these surprise guests come in, okay? So you have just, technical difficulties that happen. You have catering to the specific crowd that you're in at the specific city or venue that you're in. You have surprise guests that could pop up. And then you also have the element of Taylor's opening act. So in Reputation, she did a performance with Camila Cabello and Charlie XCX with Shake It Off. So you have those elements in it. So if you put all those together, that is how I get my 70 song playlist. Looking at all the information for the Reputation Stadium Tour and knowing that so many songs can be played, I wanted to organize my thoughts, and I kind of created 5 categories that would help me determine what those 70 songs are going to be. And here are my 5 categories of Taylor Swift songs. First up is Midnights. All right, so Midnights is her last album, and while I don't think that she is going to take the approach of Midnights that she has with like Red and Reputation, Midnights is going to be a huge piece of this concert. First, it is Taylor's most successful album ever, okay? That means that millions of people are streaming it. Millions of people are becoming Taylor Swift fans. Millions of people have tried to get tickets to this concert, and it is really driving and kind of hooking people into this whole Taylor Nation, but then also bringing them in and allowing them to get the backstory and to get more information and to learn more Taylor Swift songs. We live in a TikTok world now where these sound bites and these trending audios really drive what people want to hear. So songs like Bejeweled and Question and Anti-Hero, all these songs are things that are in people's minds. Right now, as I'm filming this, Anti-Hero has been sitting at #1 on the Billboard charts for 8 straight weeks. So obviously, this is a huge single, this is a big song, and it's my prediction that the entire Eras Tour is going to open with, "It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me." Okay, you heard it here. I'm not changing that. I'm gonna stick with that. Okay, so on my Midnights list are the 12 songs. Again, I don't think that we are going to get those songs in entirety. Some of them I do think we will, like Anti-Hero. And then in terms of the 3 a.m. tracks, I don't think that we're going to get 3 a.m. tracks except maybe for Paris. I think that could be a really fun song that she plays. But I do think that Hits Different is going to be a big surprise at the concert. I think that, there's a lot of pent up want and need to hear this song because it's only as a Target exclusive right now. It's not streaming. And I think she wants to hype it up more. She said it's her favorite bridge of all time. And I think it goes really nicely into a mashup of one of her OG songs. So I'll share that with you at the end. Okay, so category 2 is crowd pleasers. Like I said, this is going to be a high energy concert. Millions of people, thousands of people within a stadium just screaming these songs. And there are songs that if you became a Swiftie yesterday, you know Shake It Off, for example. We Are Never Getting Back Together. And it's these songs that Taylor has repeatedly played at her concerts that have been singles, have been on the radio, have been made music videos, that there's going to be a couple songs in this that are just definites. They have to play it. Like, for example, say what you will about Shake It Off. Like maybe you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm so tired of hearing Shake It Off. But she has to play that song because that was a song that catapulted her into pop stardom. Okay? And that was a huge part of who she is now. So if you had to bet on anything, I would bet on Shake It Off. At a couple of stats on some of her songs, like if you just start Googling like most streamed Taylor Swift songs or whatnot, or if you go on Spotify, right now on Spotify, like her top songs are all Midnights except for Don't Blame Me from Reputation. So do I think that's gonna play? Yes. Blank Space has over 1 billion, billion with a B, billion streams. Is she gonna play Blank Space? I'm sure she's gonna play Blank Space. So it's songs like this where there's so much crowd appeal and there's so many people who know the songs that again, she's entertaining. She's giving you the best performance. She's giving you an experience. She is going to play those songs, the crowd pleasers. Okay, I'm going to move on to the Swiftie songs. And before I talk about songs I'm calling Swiftie songs, I just want to caveat this. Okay, so just going on information and data, Taylor Swift's rise really kind of started with 1989. Okay, that was kind of like the peak. And then she went down with Reputation, right? As the whole kind of conflict with Kanye happened. But then the Reputation Stadium tour brought in some new fans. And then you had just kind of like the slow build. And now you have Midnights, right? Where it's at her peak. So there are OG Swifties that have been with her since she was, an opening act and in 2006. And really liked her because she started off as a country music artist. And she has definitely shifted. She has gone from country to pop to indie folk pop. And now here we are with Midnights. And her fan base, there are some people who stuck with her, diehards, the OGs, they are here. There are people who came in through different eras. Now, me personally, I've always liked Taylor Swift's music. I've always been a fan. I was probably never like a diehard fan until this is crazy. I was in an exercise class and Reputation just came out, and the spin instructor, she put on Ready for It, and I was just like blown away. So 2017 is when I really started, like, huge Swiftie fan, and now I'm currently at the unhinged level and making these videos. So, we're all on our own journey. Nobody's better or right or wrong or whatever, but I say that because the Swiftie songs are kind of like, if you have your Shake It Offs, you also have like different songs like Mirror Ball or Death by a Thousand Cuts that like Swifties will die for, right? Just die for. And the OG Swifties want to hear our song and Teardrops on My Guitar. And, you want to hear some of those older songs, right? And I think that while she wants to appeal to the masses that come to the concert, she also wants to kind of give that wink and that nod to the people who really know her, like, tried and true, like, those deep cuts, those tracks that like only Swifties love. Because, for example, All Too Well, if you would have asked me like 10 years ago, that song would be a lesser known song. But now it's just right up there with the crowd pleasers. At this point, if you haven't heard All Too Well, 6 minute, 10 minute, Sad Girl Autumn version, then like you've been living under a rock, right? So these songs can definitely shift as concerts happen, as people become more fans, but she wants to play those lesser known songs. The next category is slow and intimate. So as I mentioned, there are these moments during the concert, during the tours, where Taylor may sit down at the piano, or she may come on stage and start, telling a story or a connection or a shared experience about like her life and how that connects with the fans. And so when she slows it down, there's no choreography. It's just kind of this, just kind of this bare moment of her and her fans. Then this is where these slow, intimate songs will be played. Again, these could be some of the crowd pleasers. These could be some of the Midnight songs. They can be some of the Swiftie songs, but you're definitely going to get some of these slower songs there. Again, that's where you're going to get your Folklores and your Evermores. Lastly, this category is the surprise and delights. So like I mentioned, Taylor has opening acts. She has special guests. There's always some element that you're just like, what is going to happen, right? So for me, I have tickets. I braved the whole Great War of Ticketmaster, and I have tickets to go see Taylor on May 13th in Philadelphia. And the opening act for that date is Phoebe Bridgers. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, she has to play Nothing New. Like, Phoebe has to come out and she starts playing Nothing New, right? If you are going to a date and the Haim sisters are there, you may get No Body, No Crime, right? I know there's like a lot of fun speculation that maybe the Jonas Brothers comes on tour, and if you're there when Joe starts singing Mr. Perfectly Fine, like just die. I would just die, right? So it's going to be songs like that I also kind of rounded out my list of, we're going to just surprise the crowd, right? So now I've taken you through my invisible string. I guess it's not an invisible string, but I've taken you through all this logic as to what my songs are. So now I'm going to share with you the entire list, and then from there, I'm going to break it down. So I have my 70 songs, and then I'm going to break it down to 23 sets because it's the year 2023. Why not, right? Okay, that's up next. Let's go. All right. Anti-Hero, Bejeweled, You're on Your Own Kid, Mastermind, Lavender Haze, Karma, Question, Maroon, Vigilante Shit, Sweet Nothing, Snow on the Beach, Midnight Rain, Labyrinth, Paris, Love Story, You Belong With Me, Shake It Off, Style, The Man, Lover, You Need to Calm Down, Delicate, Cruel Summer, Story of Us, Picture to Burn, Speak Now, Shoulda Said No, Don't Blame Me, Look What You Made Me Do, Wildest Dreams, Blank Space, All Too Well, Ready for It, Me, Trouble, We Are Never Getting Back Together, Death by a Thousand Cuts, Cornelia Street, Getaway Car, Out of the Woods, Champagne Problems, Mirrorball, The One, August, Teardrops on My Guitar, 15, Our Song, Fearless, This Love, I Think He Knows, All He Had to Do Was Stay, 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 Gold Rush, Daylight, Tim McGraw, Long Live, It's Time to Go, Cardigan, Betty, The Archer, Happiness, My Tears Ricochet, I Don't Want to Live Forever, Nothing New, Hits Different, Cowboy Like Me, Nobody, No Crime, Exile, Evermore, and Mr. Perfectly Fine. Whew. Okay, so we have those. I'm going to show you what those mashups are going to look like, and let's get into the actual set list, the official set list for the Eras Tour. For the official set list for the Eras Tour, here are my 23 sets. Again, I think I'm going to just pencils down it for now. I may change it in March, right before the tour dates, but the tour dates start. But I think I feel pretty good about it right now as my first draft. All right, but let me know what you think. Let me know about the mashups. Let me know if I covered your favorite song, but let's just do it. All right, as I mentioned, I think the Anti-Hero is going to open up the tour with It's Me, Hi. And with that, I think that's going to be its own separate set. Other songs that will get its own separate set are Bejeweled. I think there's been so much hype around it. I think that the visuals in Bejeweled and the different kind of colors representing her albums, like that scene where she's wearing black and then all the albums come to her. I think that Taylor is going to announce that she owns all her masters, or the re-records will be done before the tour happens to kind of like wrap that all up. But I think the visual of, her being in, owning all of her work and the different colors representing the albums will be an entire set. I think also with that, you could have the Lover House as a backup to that. And then you could also have kind of this chess set, but we'll get into it at Another song that I think is going to have its own moment is You're on Your Own Kid. I think there's a lot of love for the song. It's track 5. Additionally, it's a song that talks about Taylor's experiences all throughout her career. So it plays into the whole winding us through the eras and taking us through those moments. I don't think I've mentioned this before. Maybe I did, but I'm repeating myself. But I do think that I like the idea of a midnight song anchoring a moment or a set and then bringing us through what this really means. Because I don't know what those songs particularly mean. I kind of steered away from that from doing up my own list. But if Taylor can give us some insights and share those Easter eggs with us and reveal those secrets, that would be really awesome. Okay, another song that I think is going to have its own moment is Cruel Summer. Okay, I think that Cruel Summer is just like an incredible song. I think this is where she's going to pick up a piece that she had from Loverfest. And like what I think about a lot is is people singing songs and lyrics and bridges from Taylor and people screaming like, I'm drunk in the back of the car. Like, that's a moment. That is so incredible and it's gonna be so fun. Also with that, I may start singing some of these songs and my voice is just hard. It's really bad, but I do get really excited. So if I start singing, I'm really sorry. I'm not Taylor, so you can imagine how much better it's going to be when you actually hear it in person versus just my prediction. And another song that I think is going to get its own specific moment is Champagne Problems. All right. Again, same thing with this. I think people screaming, 1 for the money, 2 for the show. And this is also a really great way to give Evermore a big moment. You know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's just like the little sister album to Folklore and it hasn't gotten like the attention it deserves. But I think having that song from Evermore just being like front and center would be really fun. Okay, so that's another prediction. I think there's going to be more songs that will have their own specific moments, but those are my go-to. Like those are my predictions. Okay, so let's move on to a couple mashups. All right, this is a fun one. Midnight Rain. This is going to be a Midnight mashup. So when we got the Midnight's album, we got lots of like all the canvases on Spotify were all these lyrics from songs where Taylor says midnight. So, I mean, just think of it's like style. She's like, midnight. I told you, right? And then she's like, it feels like perfect night for breakfast at midnight from like 22. And I want your midnights from New Year's Day. And then she goes into, he was sunshine. I was like midnight rain, right? And that song plays. She could also incorporate the songs that have middle of the night, like, you know, ready for it, like in the middle of the night. But you know, kind of like that mashup of bringing all the midnights together. Okay, so that's another one. All right. So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what do I think about All Too Well? Is she going to play the 10-minute version? Are we going to hear All Too Well? And, okay, how do I say this? So I think yes and no. Yes and no. Do I think that she is going to sit there for 10 minutes and play the 10-minute version? Unfortunately, I do not think that she is going to. I think that just sounds really exhausting. I think she has 2.5 hours to cover a lot of songs. And she has sung this song, what am I saying? Okay, so she has 2.5 hours to play all these songs, and to spend 10 minutes to one song just seems like not an efficient time. Additionally, I think as she moves towards her directing and her movie career, she kind of wants to freeze this in time as like a movie, right? This is her film, and she's going to try to start separating that away from her like concert pop stardom. But that said, I think that All Too Well is going to play at the tour. But here's what I think is going to happen. So I think maybe you'll like this, right? So she's not going to start from the beginning, right? She's not going to be like, I walk through the door with you. She's going to be like, she's going to start with Getaway Car. Okay, ready? Just envision that. Ready? She's like, I'm in a getaway car. And it's going to be, you know, I took the money in the bag and I stole the key. That was the last time you ever saw me, right? She's going to start doing that. And then all of a sudden she's going to go, and you were tossing me the car keys. F the patriarchy, keychained on the ground. And she's going to start from the lyrics in the All Too Well 10-minute version that we hadn't heard, that we've never seen in concert. And she's going to play and focus and highlight those pieces of All Too Well. So that's how she's going to play All Too Well. That's my prediction. The next mashup I have is the Stay mashup. So this is where she starts singing The Archer, and she says, you know, who could ever leave me, darling, but who could stay? And then she goes into All You Had to Do Was Stay from 1989, and then she does Stay, Stay, Stay from Red. I don't know, she's gonna bring in that. I mean, that's just one idea. So, but I just want you to think of, she uses some words a lot. So the next one I'm gonna say is, you belong with me, and that's going to go into me, right? I think she's going to take like some words that we know from, you know, popular songs, and then she's going to like bring them together, right? For these mashups. Okay. Moving on. I know I'm having too much fun with this. Another one is going to be Daylight and Gold Rush. So again, she's going to start singing Daylight, which I think when she did that in Paris, it seemed like the crowd just like loved it, you know, and then she paused And she said, I once believed love would be black and white. And then they all start screaming, it's golden. And then at that moment, she kind of ties it in with Gold Rush, right? And that's from Evermore. So again, like I said, she's going to play Shake It Off. I don't know. I think it's going to be a mashup. I don't know what she's going to mash it up with, but I'm throwing that in there. I have this whole video about Maroon being tied to Wildest Dreams. So I think there's going to be a Maroon, Wildest Dreams, Cornelia Street, maybe This Love like combination all together. So that's another set. And then, so I talked about Hits Different when I talked about the midnight sections. So Hits Different, all this pent up, like I can't wait to hear it. And then when she starts going, each bar plays our song, she's gonna start like repeating our song. And then it's gonna go to like, I was riding shotgun with my hair undone, and it's gonna play our song. So it's gonna be Hits Different into our song, which is really crazy because it's like the bookends, right? It's the first and the last like coming together, which I think is really awesome. All right. Another mashup is Lavender Haze. I definitely think she's going to play Lavender Haze at the concert. And then Lavender Haze kind of has this like fun, like boppiness to it that I think he knows, you know, it's kind of like, I feel, and then it's like, I got my heart beat. I mean, yes. So there's a lot of like sonically cohesive, like a sonic cohesiveness of, you know, all these like midnight songs with previous songs. So I think we're going to see a lot of them. Additionally, you have Out of the Woods and Question that come together, right? Where she starts Question with I Remember, and then you can bring in like Remember When You Hit the Brakes Too Soon, and then she starts mashing those two songs up, right? A song that I think is going to be a really good mashup is Lover with Love Story. Then you also have Enchanted with August. This is really fun. So I think she's going to play Tim McGraw because she definitely wants to bring in those songs from debut. But then that's going to go into Happiness. So you have like, when you think happiness, you think that little black dress, and then she starts singing, you know, Happiness from Folklore. Don't Blame Me. I definitely think she's going to play that. That is like, that song is just rising up and is really popular. So I think a lot of people want to hear that. And that is going to be a mashup with Blank Space. I have Mirrorball on my list. I think that that's a really nice mashup with maybe Delicate and Death by a Thousand Cuts. I definitely think the bridge from Death by a Thousand Cuts is something that she wants to be in concert and hear people scream back to her. Because, you know, when I keep saying that, but she's been referencing going on tour and how she loves just like connecting with the fans and hearing them. Like she puts these songs out to the world and then seeing their reactions. I think songs like that are definitely going to make the list. All right, Look What You Made Me Do with Vigilante Shit and Karma. I mean, I think that all kind of like plays together. And finally, after all that, my prediction for the final song. So I gave you Antihero. We're gonna open with that. The final set, because there's gonna be 3 songs in this list. One is Long Live from Speak Now. That was the last song that she played in the Bejeweled video. And it has an element of just kind of standing by each other and fighting dragons and the things that we've been through. Next is going to be It's Time to Go. So I feel like this has a really great way to kind of end a concert, right? It's just like knowing when it's time to leave and you're leaving the concert, right? And then lastly is Mastermind. She's going to take us through this journey of being a pawn to a queen, and now as the queen, moving through her eras, moving through the blocks of whatever she wants, and bringing that all in with the song Mastermind, which talks about how she's planned everything and nothing was accidental. Then I think that's just going to wrap up the tour nicely. Okay, that was a lot, I know. But I have one more thing to add before I just completely shut this whole down. I can't wait to see what you guys think. I can't wait to hear about your experiences. Please, as you go to the concerts, like, let me know what has been happening. Tell me the set list, tell me what songs are playing. But okay, so now I took you through all that logic. I did a lot of research, as you can see. I'm a little unhinged, but I do have now a really unhinged moment where So I did all this, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, like Taylor style. We're just like so similar. And I thought back to the moment when we heard about that this tour was being announced. This tour was being announced on Jimmy Fallon, and Taylor showed up and he was mentioning the tour. And this is where she started talking about like seeing the fans' faces and like, you know, seeing the screen back. And he's like, oh, something about a tour. And she's like, I think we should do it. We should do it, right? And she casually, nonchalantly says it. And she doesn't confirm it, but then after that, it is shortly announced that she is going on tour. Also that night, she's there to talk about the new album. She's talking about some videos, but she is also hyping up the fact that the Bejeweled music video is dropping that night at midnight. Okay, so there's a lot of focus on the Bejeweled video, and she talks about how there's so many Easter eggs in the Bejeweled video that they had to keep like a spreadsheet to keep track of them. And some people, we've been all trying to figure out what they all mean. And a lot of us have been coming to the conclusions of re-records, that the re-records have happened, or they're not, or they're happening, or Speak Now is going to happen, and this meant Delicate, and this meant 1989. But I'm going to leave you with this thought. What if the set list for the Eras Tour are the Easter eggs that are in that music video? Just go check it out. Go check this out after me. And it goes from, you know, there's an invisible string coming in, and you hear Enchanted, and they're talking about cleaning, and she says speak not, and there's champagne problems elements, and, you know, at the end she gets the key, and then she ghosts, and that is that getaway car. Like, there are so many ideas, but I'm just gonna leave that out for you because I did all this work, and I think it'd be fun if you kind of made your own conclusions. So check that out. Okay, friends, that is all I have. I cannot wait to go to this tour. It is going to be so awesome, and I'm sure there's going to be a Netflix special on it as well, but I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope that your song is played in this tour. And like I said in the beginning, if you like these videos, subscribe to my channel. Let's stay in touch. Let's help each other out with theories, and I will see you for the next video.